It's just been confirmed Tottenham are leading the race for James Trafford, Manchester City 23-year-old goalkeeper, and this could completely change who starts between the posts at Spurs next season. And I'll tell you, my friend, this news hits hard, especially right now, because Antonin Kinsky has been absolutely extraordinary in recent weeks. We're going to break down everything: the financial details, the tactical implications, the behind-the-scenes dynamics, and what this means for Kinsky's future at the club. But first, we need to talk about James Maddison because new footage has emerged that proves he was telling the truth, and now the FA could still come after him for it. So stay with me until the end, pay close attention to every detail, and then tell me in the comments what you think about all of this movement at Tottenham. Look, we are in the most critical stretch of Tottenham's season in years. Spurs are deep in a relegation battle, every point matters, and the club is simultaneously trying to manage the present and plan for the future. The summer transfer window is approaching, De Zerbi needs reinforcements, and decisions are being made right now about who will be part of this squad going forward. The goalkeeper situation in particular has been one of the most debated topics behind the scenes, with Vicario out recovering from hernia surgery, Kinsky stepping up, and now reports emerging about a genuine interest in a high-profile signing. At the same time, on the pitch, refereeing decisions are costing this club points, and James Maddison is now caught in a storm that could have real consequences for him. Let's get into it. James Maddison, England international, one of Tottenham's most important creative players when fit. And right now, in the middle of a relegation fight, he's back, he's involved, and he's already in the eye of a controversy. In Spurs' 1-1 draw against Leeds United, referee Jared Gillett denied Tottenham a penalty in the dying stages after Maddison went down under a challenge by Lucas Nmeka. Maddison didn't stay quiet, he hit out publicly, claiming he got the final touch on the ball and that officials are, his words, petrified of making decisions in the VAR era. Now, with reports from reliable sources indicating the FA could sanction him for those comments, the story has taken another dimension entirely. And here's what makes this so painful, my friend. Tottenham are fighting for their Premier League lives. 1 point dropped here, one refereeing mistake there. These are the moments that can define whether a club survives or goes down. The timing couldn't be worse. Maddison has been injured for much of the season, watching from the sidelines, and his very first significant moment back on the pitch is marred by what increasingly looks like an officiating error. The frustration is completely understandable. Now, let's talk about what new evidence shows, because this is important. Initially, some pundits and former referees suggested Gillett may have been correct, that Nmeka got a touch on the ball, and that the contact wasn't enough to warrant a penalty. But new footage from a different camera angle has emerged, and it tells a completely different story. Watched from the opposite side, it appears that Maddison got the final touch with the outside of his foot, and that Nmeka actually missed the ball and caught the Tottenham man. That's a significant development. It means Maddison was not exaggerating or looking for excuses. He genuinely believed he was fouled, and the evidence now backs him up. Former striker Charlie Austin, a man who knows what it's like to fight for survival in this league, came out publicly in support of Maddison. Speaking on Sky Sports, he expressed sympathy for the frustration and made the point clearly: referees are too dependent on VAR, and the bravery to make decisive calls in real time has disappeared. That sentiment resonates with a lot of people in football right now, and Maddison, as a player who has been watching from the stands all season, is feeling it just like the fans do. From a purely footballing perspective, Maddison is one of Tottenham's most intelligent players in the final third. In De Zerbi's system, he functions as the engine in the number 10 role: late runs, combination play, set-piece delivery. When he's fit and firing, he changes games. So having him potentially suspended by the FA at this moment in the season would be a genuine problem. Now, I want to be balanced here. Even if Maddison was right, there are legitimate questions about the timing and the tone of his comments. He returned from injury, played his first real game, and immediately went into the media with language that the FA could interpret as bringing the game into disrepute. Some within the fanbase feel he should have let the footage do the talking rather than escalating publicly. There's an argument that it was emotionally driven rather than strategically smart. And if the FA do fine or suspend him, Spurs will have lost both the point and potentially a key player, which is the worst of all outcomes in a relegation fight. So now I want to know from you. Do you think Maddison was right to speak out the way he did, or should he have stayed quiet and let the footage speak for itself. Was it brave, or was it a mistake at such a critical moment? Tell me in the comments, I'll be reading every single one. Now, we need to talk about the goalkeeper situation because the news involving James Trafford and what it means for Antonin Kinsky is one of the most emotionally loaded stories at Spurs right now. Here's the situation, and I want to lay it out clearly. According to Spurs insider at COYS, who has been reliable on Tottenham behind-the-scenes news, Spurs have held fresh talks for Manchester City backup goalkeeper James Trafford and are currently leading the race among interested clubs. Trafford, 23 years old, is not expected to make a final decision on his next club until after the season ends. And while nothing is close to official, this is real movement, not speculation, not a rumor from nowhere. This is a concrete pursuit. And the reason the story hits differently is because of what Antonin Kinsky has done in recent weeks. Let me give you the full context. Guglielmo Vicario, Tottenham #1, finally underwent hernia surgery and has been out for a significant stretch.
Kinsky stepped in.
And my friend, he has been phenomenal, particularly on the ball, which is critical in De Zerbi's system, but also as a shot stopper. 2 incredible saves against Leeds United recently to earn Spurs a point were the kind of performances that make you sit up and take notice. And yet, despite all of that, Tottenham are going hard after a different goalkeeper. That's the brutal reality of football. You can be brilliant and still not be enough. Now, why Trafford? He's the best young goalkeeper in England right now. He was in line to be Manchester City starter, and that tells you everything. The only reason he hasn't played is Gianluigi Donnarumma joining City after winning the Champions League with PSG. Donnarumma is elite. He's not going anywhere. And so Trafford has found himself stuck behind a world-class goalkeeper in the prime of his career. He needs a move to fulfill his potential. And Tottenham, if they stay up, want to be that destination. The fee should be reasonable given the circumstances. Trafford has value, but City need to move him if he wants to play. Spurs are reportedly leading the race, meaning other clubs are circling, but Tottenham have made the most concrete contact. The decision will be made post-season, which means the next few weeks, including whether Spurs stay up, will be absolutely decisive. No Premier League survival, no Trafford. It's that simple. From a pure technical standpoint, Trafford fits everything De Zerbi demands from a modern goalkeeper. He's comfortable with the ball at his feet. He reads the game intelligently, and at 23 years old, he has the ceiling to grow into one of the best in the league. In a high defensive line, you need a goalkeeper who can act as a sweeper, who can distribute quickly, who can be the 11th outfield player. That's Trafford profile. But here's the honest question. Is Kinsky that different? Because what we've seen in recent weeks suggests he might be closer to that profile than Tottenham are giving him credit for. He's 22 years old. He's been a warrior during the hardest moments of this season, and he's proving himself under enormous pressure. The difference in the club's calculus is probably about certainty. Trafford is a known commodity at the highest level in England, trained in an elite environment at City. Kinsky is showing promise, but this is still his first extended run in the Premier League. Tottenham, if they are rebuilding properly, want to reduce uncertainty wherever possible. For Kinsky, if Trafford comes in, he likely becomes the #2 unless he pushes for a loan to get regular first-team football. That's the honest reality. He's too good to sit on the bench for years, and at his age, he needs games. And look, I want to give this counterpoint its proper weight, because it matters. There's a real argument that Kinsky deserves to be rewarded for what he's done this season. He came in with the team in crisis. He had that awful night against Atletico Madrid where Igor Tudor hung him out to dry. He was left exposed, barely played for months, and came back stronger. That takes character. That takes the kind of mentality that clubs say they want. To reward that by signing someone to take his spot sends a complicated message internally. Some in the fan base feel strongly that loyalty should count for something, and that Kinsky has earned his shot as the #1. The other risk, what if Trafford doesn't come, or comes and underperforms? You've potentially damaged your relationship with a goalkeeper who has been one of your best performers at the most difficult moment in the season. These are real calculations that Tottenham's sporting director will need to handle carefully. So, I want to hear from you. Are you in favor of bringing Trafford to Tottenham? Or do you think Kinsky has earned the right to be the #1 going forward? Is this the right investment, or does it feel like the wrong message at the wrong time? Leave your comment below. I genuinely want to know what you think, and I'll be reading every response. See you in the next video.